Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by asking you a simple question. What is the price of being fully known? Imagine for a moment that every thought you've ever had, every fear you've ever harbored, every detail of your life was laid bare for the world to see. It might seem like transparency, even authenticity. Let me tell you, it's not freedom. It's a kind of psychological exposure that leaves you vulnerable, defenseless, and dangerously misunderstood. Now, don't mistake my point. I'm not advocating for deceit. I'm not saying you should cloak yourself in lies or retreat behind a facade. What I am saying, what I need you to understand, is that not everyone has earned the right to know the full depths of you. Not everyone has the capacity to handle it, nor the wisdom to treat it with the care it deserves. Your inner world is something uniquely yours. It consists of your thoughts, feelings, dreams, and struggles, the deep, unspoken parts of you that shape who you are. It's the place where your identity is formed, where you process experiences, and where you find meaning in the world. This internal space is sacred, and it's not something to be given away lightly. In a world where personal vulnerability is often celebrated and even commodified, it's easy to forget that not every part of your inner world should be exposed to others. There is a significant difference between being transparent and being vulnerable to the point of exposure. The former can create genuine connection, but the latter can leave you exposed to harm. Your vulnerabilities, struggles, and personal insights are treasures, things that need to be protected, not because they are weak, but because they are valuable. When you share too much of yourself too soon, you risk losing control of your narrative. Others may take pieces of your identity, not fully understanding them, and twist them into something that doesn't align with who you are or what you intended. What you reveal is often filtered through the lens of others' perspectives, biases, and assumptions, and these can distort the very essence of your experience. The more of yourself you expose, the more you open the door for others to misinterpret, misuse, or manipulate that information. In this sense, exposing too much of your inner world is a form of psychological vulnerability that leaves you wide open to judgment, misunderstanding, and even exploitation. It's important to recognize that not everyone you encounter is equipped to understand or appreciate the full depth of who you are. Not everyone is capable of treating your inner world with the respect and care it deserves. There are those who may not even have the emotional maturity to process the complexities of your experiences or emotions. And in such cases, revealing too much can lead to frustration, alienation, or even betrayal. And you may find that over time, the more you share, the more misunderstood or rejected you feel. This is not because you are inherently unworthy of understanding, but because people are not always prepared to hold space for the depth of others' reality. Guarding your inner world does not mean you are building walls or isolating yourself from others. Rather, it means you are exercising wisdom in determining who has earned the right to know you on a deeper level. Not everyone who asks for access to your heart or mind is truly prepared to hold that responsibility. Real intimacy, whether in friendship or romantic relationships, is something that develops gradually, based on mutual trust and understanding. It's a process that should be approached carefully, not rushed. You reveal parts of yourself in small increments, testing the waters and allowing people to show whether they are worthy of that trust. The core of guarding your inner world is self-respect. When you protect your vulnerabilities, you are making a statement about your own value and worth. You understand that your inner world is not a commodity to be traded for the approval or acceptance of others. Instead, it is something you maintain control over, allowing only those who demonstrate respect, integrity, and genuine care to enter and witness the fullness of who you are. Ultimately, your inner world is yours to navigate, to grow, and to evolve within. Protecting it is an act of self-preservation, of maintaining your autonomy, and of ensuring that your experiences, emotions, and identity are valued in the way that they deserve to be. In today's hyper-supplement world, the line between transparency and oversharing has become increasingly blurred. We live in an age where social media platforms encourage constant updates on our lives, what we're eating, where we're traveling, the highs and lows of our emotions, and even the most mundane details of our day-to-day existence. This constant flow of personal information may seem harmless at first, even empowering. After all, the idea of sharing and being seen can create a sense of connection, a feeling of being understood. But what happens when that connection becomes too one-sided, too exposed? Oversharing can leave you vulnerable in ways that go beyond mere privacy concerns. It can make you psychologically defenseless, open to judgment, and susceptible to manipulation. When you share too much, you are effectively giving others access to your vulnerabilities without fully considering the consequences. What people see is often fragmented, filtered versions of your truth. And these pieces are available for public consumption, often without context or understanding. Social media in particular distorts this further because interactions there are rarely in-depth or intimate. A comment, a like, a post, it's all a quick snapshot of a much larger, far more complicated reality. And in this brief exchange, people may misunderstand your intentions, misinterpret your emotions, or make assumptions about your life that are far from the truth. The result is a disconnection between the image others have of you and the reality of who you are. The more you reveal, the more room you create for judgment. While some may offer support or empathy, many others will simply form opinions based on the limited information available to them. Humans have a natural tendency to fill in gaps with their own assumptions. And when your life is laid out in fragments for the world to see, those assumptions can easily become inaccurate or damaging. What may seem like an innocent, fleeting moment to you can be misconstrued as something far more significant by someone else. People may project their own biases or insecurities onto your experiences, leading to conclusions about you that have little to do with your true self. Oversharing also invites scrutiny. When everything is out in the open, there's little left for you to keep to yourself, and that leaves you exposed. It becomes easier for others to scrutinize your choices, your thoughts, or your past actions, often in ways that feel invasive and out of your control. Instead of being able to manage your personal narrative, you become at the mercy of the interpretations of others. You might find yourself feeling judged or criticized for things that are taken out of context, things that you've shared without fully considering the potential for misinterpretation. Another risk of oversharing is that it can make you a target when you put everything about yourself out there, whether it's your fears, your weaknesses, or your personal struggles. You leave yourself open to exploitation. There are people who will take advantage of that openness, either by manipulating your vulnerabilities for personal gain or by using your information to harm you in some way. This could be as subtle as someone using your personal details to undermine your confidence, or as direct as a more calculated attempt to exploit your weaknesses for emotional or financial benefit. The more of yourself you expose, the more you lose control over your narrative. Oversharing strips away your ability to curate your own identity and the way others perceive you. You may inadvertently paint a picture of yourself that isn't entirely accurate, or worse, one that leaves you feeling vulnerable and unprotected. This loss of control is something that many fail to recognize until it's too late. By sharing too much too soon, you forfeit the ability to guard your peace, your privacy, and ultimately, your sense of self. Trust is a delicate thing. It is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether it's personal, professional, or romantic. But trust cannot be freely given. It must be earned over time through consistent actions, integrity, and understanding. When it comes to revealing yourself to others, it's vital to remember that trust is not automatic. It is something that develops gradually, based on shared experiences, mutual respect, and demonstrated reliability. The mistake many people make is to rush this process, revealing too much of themselves too soon, and in doing so, they risk damaging or even losing that trust altogether. We live in a world that increasingly values openness and authenticity, but there is a fundamental truth that many overlook. Genuine intimacy does not happen instantly. It is a gradual process, built on a foundation of respect and understanding. True connection is not about revealing everything about yourself in one go. It's about discerning who deserves to see the real you and when. The danger in oversharing is that you expose parts of yourself to those who haven't yet demonstrated their ability to handle or appreciate that depth. You cannot expect someone to fully understand or respect your vulnerabilities, your complexities, or your history if they have not yet earned the right to know those things. Trust must be built slowly, through shared moments and experiences, through actions that prove someone's reliability and integrity. When you trust someone too quickly, you risk opening up too much too soon, Not everyone is equipped to handle the complexity of your inner world. People who haven't yet earned your trust may not know how to respond appropriately to your thoughts, your feelings, or your experiences. They may react with judgment, with distance, or even with exploitation because they haven't yet developed the emotional maturity or understanding to appreciate the significance of what you've shared. Trust isn't just about feeling comfortable with someone. It's about knowing they have the capacity to handle the weight of your vulnerabilities and respond in ways that nurture rather than harm your sense of self. And so the process of building trust involves testing the waters. You don't dive into the deep end immediately. Instead, you reveal yourself in stages, observing how the other person responds, seeing whether they prove themselves worthy of your confidence. This allows you to gauge their character, their empathy, and their integrity. It's through this process that trust is earned. When you give someone a piece of yourself, you are, in a sense, giving them power over your emotions, your experiences, or your reputation. You need to ensure that the person receiving that power will treat it with care, with respect, and with wisdom. Trust, in this sense, is an investment, one that requires time and discernment. The risk of revealing too much too soon is that you bypass this important process. When you overshare with someone who hasn't yet earned your trust, you may inadvertently place them in a position where they are overwhelmed by your vulnerabilities, or worse, where they misuse that information. Not everyone is capable of handling the weight of someone else's pain, joy, or complexity. Without the proper context or understanding, they may distort your intentions or view you through the lens of their own biases. This can lead to misunderstandings, emotional harm, or even betrayal. Ultimately, revealing yourself to others should be a careful, intentional act. It's not about withholding parts of yourself, but about choosing to share them with those who have proven they can hold space for you. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, and without it, connection becomes shallow, fragile, and unsustainable. By taking the time to build trust gradually, you preserve your emotional well-being and ensure that the connections you form are deep, authentic, and respectful. In the age of social media and constant connectivity, the concept of privacy has become increasingly difficult to maintain. We are constantly encouraged to share more, to open up, and to be transparent. Yet it's important to understand that privacy is not the same as secrecy. Privacy is a crucial part of maintaining healthy boundaries and protecting our sense of self. It's about preserving your personal space, your thoughts, and your experiences for yourself, and deciding who has access to that inner world and when. Privacy allows you to control how much of yourself you share and with whom, giving you the autonomy to decide what is revealed and what remains personal. It is the space in which you can grow, reflect, and process your emotions without the pressure of outside influence. When you maintain your privacy, you assert a kind of control over your life that is essential for your well-being. Without it, you are at risk of losing a sense of your own identity. When too much of your life is laid bare, it becomes difficult to separate your true self from the projections and interpretations of others. Others may see your life through the lens of their own experiences, biases, and assumptions, which can distort your identity and leave you feeling misunderstood or even alienated. By maintaining privacy, you protect your ability to define who you are on your own terms, without being shaped by external forces or judgments. Boundaries are a vital part of preserving. Boundaries are not about creating walls to isolate yourself from others, but about creating healthy limits that allow you to protect your emotional and mental well-being. They help you define what is yours to share and what is not, ensuring that you don't overextend yourself or make yourself vulnerable to people who may not have earned the right to know certain parts of you. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, or mental, and they are necessary for maintaining a sense of safety and control in a world that often demands more than we can give. One of the risks of oversharing is that it can erode your sense of privacy. When you reveal too much about yourself to others, especially to people who haven't demonstrated the maturity or wisdom to handle your vulnerability, you risk losing the space you need to process, grow, and reflect. You may feel exposed, as though there is no room for you to retreat into your own thoughts and emotions. In a way, the more you share, the less privacy you have, and this can leave you feeling depleted, emotionally exposed, or even manipulated. When privacy is compromised, it becomes more difficult to maintain a sense of independence and control over your life. The act of preserving privacy is not about hiding who you are or being dishonest. It's about protecting the parts of you that need space to breathe, to develop, and to evolve. There are parts of your identity that are sacred, and they are meant to be protected. This is not to say that you should build walls around yourself, but rather that you should be mindful of who you let in and when. It's about sharing yourself in a way that feels safe and empowering, not pressured or forced. By maintaining your privacy, you create the space necessary for growth, self-discovery, and emotional clarity. In relationships, privacy can be seen as a form of respect. When you maintain your privacy, you communicate that your inner world is valuable and that you expect it to be treated with care. It's a way of saying, this part of me is for me to understand and process. When the time is right, I'll share it with you. But I need to protect it for now. When others respect your privacy, it strengthens trust and deepens the connection. It shows that they value you, not just for the things you share, but for the person you are, both in what you reveal and in what you choose to keep private. By preserving your privacy, you maintain your sense of autonomy and self-worth, ensuring that you are in control of your own narrative. When we open up to others, we often do so with the hope that they will treat our vulnerabilities with care and understanding. However, it is essential to remember that not everyone who seeks access to your life has your best interests at heart. While some people may approach you with empathy and a genuine desire to connect, there are others who may not have such noble intentions. Some may simply be curious about your life, while others may have ulterior motives, whether driven by envy, insecurity, or even a desire to exploit your openness for their own gain. This is why it is so important to be discerning about who you choose to share yourself with, and why not everyone should be privy to every part of you. The truth is, many people are not capable of handling the depth of your experiences or the complexity of your emotions. Not everyone possesses the emotional maturity to respond to your struggles or triumphs with empathy and respect. Some people may be quick to judge, misunderstand, or use what you've shared against you. There are others who, rather than offering support, may see your vulnerabilities as opportunities to undermine or manipulate you. These individuals often prey on the openness of others, exploiting their trust for personal gain, whether it's gaining social status, access to your resources, or simply the satisfaction of feeling superior. These individuals may seek to take advantage of your transparency in ways that harm you in the long run. When you reveal too much to the wrong people, you risk giving them power over you. Once you share something personal, it becomes part of the narrative they hold about you. And that narrative may not align with how you see yourself. It is easy for others to distort or misinterpret what you've shared. And this misrepresentation can harm your reputation, your relationships, or even your mental health. What may seem like a harmless disclosure to you can be used as a weapon in the hands of someone who doesn't understand the significance of what you've entrusted to them. This is why it is crucial to be selective in deciding who has access to the most intimate parts of your life. Furthermore, there are those who are driven by envy or resentment. People who feel threatened by your success, your happiness, or your personal growth may seek to exploit your openness to tear you down or diminish your self-esteem. By learning about your weaknesses or insecurities, they may try to create doubt or confusion, making you question yourself and your worth. These individuals are not interested in fostering connection or supporting your growth. Instead, they seek to maintain control or project their own feelings of inadequacy onto you. In such cases, sharing too much can lead to emotional harm and ultimately reinforce unhealthy dynamics in your relationships. Choosing who to trust and share yourself with is not about being distrustful or paranoid. It's about being wise and protecting yourself from unnecessary harm. Trust should be built gradually, and it should be based on proven character, integrity, and empathy. It is essential to observe how people respond to your vulnerabilities over time and to assess whether they have earned the right to know the deeper parts of you. Those who genuinely care for you will treat your personal information with the utmost respect, will hold space for your emotions without judgment, and will protect your inner world. On the other hand, those who do not have your best interests at heart will demonstrate their lack of integrity through their actions, making it clear that they should not be trusted with the most sensitive parts of your life. Ultimately, by being discerning about who you allow to know you deeply, you protect yourself from harm and ensure that your emotional energy is invested in relationships that are genuinely supportive and nurturing. Trust is something that must be earned, and not everyone who asks to know you truly deserves to have that access. When deciding to share aspects of your life with others, it's crucial to reflect on the purpose of that sharing. Not every piece of yourself should be revealed, and not every interaction should require full disclosure. The key question to ask yourself before opening up to someone is whether that sharing contributes to your personal growth or serves your well-being in a meaningful way. The act of sharing should never come from a place of emotional compulsion or a desire for validation. Instead, it should be deliberate and guided by the understanding that revealing certain aspects of your inner world can either nurture your growth or expose you to unnecessary harm. Sharing should always be done with intention. It is easy to fall into the trap of sharing just to feel heard or to receive reassurance. In moments of vulnerability or loneliness, you may feel tempted to open up simply for the sake of connection. But this can sometimes lead to negative consequences. If the person you're sharing with does not have the emotional capacity to hold space for you, or is not trustworthy, it may result in misunderstandings or worse, emotional harm. This is why it's essential to ensure that when you do choose to share, it is with someone who can offer support, understanding, and respect, rather than judgment or criticism. Sharing also serves the purpose of fostering growth. There are times when revealing certain aspects of your life to the right person can lead to deep, meaningful exchanges that propel you forward. This kind of sharing allows you to receive valuable feedback, gain new perspectives, or simply feel understood in ways that can be incredibly healing. When you share your challenges, your doubts, or your successes with someone who is truly invested in your well-being, the interaction can strengthen your bond and help you grow emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. However, this type of sharing should not be done indiscriminately, but with a sense of trust and understanding that the person you are confiding in has earned the right to know these intimate details. There's also the element of timing. It's essential to assess whether you are truly ready to share something about yourself and whether the person you are sharing it with is in a position to receive it appropriately. Sometimes revealing too much too soon can have unintended consequences. Not every moment is the right moment for deep disclosure, and sharing your inner thoughts or struggles when you're not prepared to process the reaction of the other person can be damaging. It's important to be discerning and patient, allowing the right moments to unfold naturally, rather than rushing into vulnerability out of a need for immediate connection or relief. Moreover, there are certain aspects of yourself that should remain private, not because you are hiding them, but because they are not for others to define or interpret. Your personal narrative is yours to control, and it's vital that you retain the power to decide how much of it you wish to share and with whom. In many ways, sharing too much too soon can cause you to lose control over your own story, allowing others to project their own beliefs, judgments, or interpretations onto you. This can be particularly harmful if their perceptions do not align with who you are or how you see yourself. It's important to safeguard your personal identity by sharing only in situations where it will serve your growth and not expose you to unnecessary vulnerability or confusion. Ultimately, sharing is a process that should be deliberate, thoughtful, and aimed at personal growth. It should be driven by a desire to connect with others in a meaningful way, to seek support when necessary, and to foster a deeper understanding of yourself. Sharing too much without consideration can lead to emotional discomfort or exploitation. So it's crucial to share in a way that contributes to your well-being and strengthens your connections, rather than compromising your sense of self. The act of sharing should always be purposeful, whether it's for growth, connection, or simply to protect your own peace of mind.